Oh no, we recording. We're not going live.
Oh, okay.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Invitation to a Conversation. I'm Pamela Bailey. We're on the last month of the year, and my guest today will end our conversations for the year 2022. But looking forward to doing it again in 2023. And now I introduce to you Mr. Alec Eaton of Eat In Together.
Yes,
Good morning,
ma'am.
Mr. Good morning, Mr. Eaton. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you on this lovely day?
I'm good. I'm good. Is eat and together a compound word or are there three different words together?
It's a compound word. So my last name, Alec Eaton, Eaton. It's I use it kind of to abbreviate and use my last name based around food for the restaurant. So I make it Eaton together. So EAT apostrophe N. Just easier to kind of
Okay.
roll off the tongue. And God gave me a good last name with food, so I figure I have to do something centered around it. Use it to my
Okay.
advantage.
Yes. Mr. Eaton, are you a native of Brunswick?
So I'm not a native, but I am rooted here. I've lived personally here since 2006. My mother and her side of the family is actually from this area, which I didn't know about until I moved down here in 2006. So I've had a lot of growth and development in this community, and it has given me a place to call home, and it supported me throughout the years through my career. And so this is where I call my home now.
Is eating together your first job down here? What did you do prior to eating together?
Oh gosh, I've done a lot. I've been around for a good while. I've had a long career in public safety. So prior to this, kind of going backwards, I was the former emergency management and homeland security director for Glenn County, which we oversaw everything man-made and natural disaster. So I got really known for hurricane season around here. I came on during Hurricane Matthew and Irma. And I was a part of the team that helped the county's response for that. And every hurricane storm, ice storm, turned over vessel, everything that goes on that calls for multi agency response. I was a part of the command team that worked on that year round. Prior to that, I was certified as a police officer. I was a firefighter and an EMT for a very long time here in the city and the county. So a lot of experience helping people firsthand within our community in all different walks of life. Prior to my public safety life, I've had, restaurant jobs. I was younger, so I, worked at different clubs and maintenance and just a wide range, kind of a renaissance type of resume.
And how did you come to the decision from coming out of public safety into the food service business?
So it's a long transition, but I love food first and foremost. As you can tell, I don't miss many meals. I like to tell people. Um, but I fell in love. I've always loved giving back firsthand, and obviously with my love of food and knowing that everything that I did in my public safety career kind of revolved around food. Any major meeting, any major relationship we developed came over lunch, over good breakfast, something of that nature. Really brings people together. And then I learned about the concept of a pay what you can restaurant, is which is what I'm establishing through my sister who worked at one in Tennessee, in Johnson City, Tennessee, called One Acre Cafe. I learned about what the concept of a pay what you can is essentially it's not a soup kitchen. It's a full service restaurant that everyone has the ability to eat anything on the menu at full price, half price, severely reduced, or you can volunteer for your food. Or you can volunteer to pay for somebody else's food. It's a great concept, great way of giving back, brings people together. And then I had the privilege, and this was the really big selling point for me. I went to Raleigh, North Carolina on a vacation, and I went to a restaurant called A Place at the Table in Raleigh, North Carolina. And I was in an actual pay what you can restaurant, and I had no idea. The service was
Mm.
great. The atmosphere was wonderful. It was very kind of contemporary and Instagrammable. So it's not it shined through that idea of a concept of what the soup kitchen mentality or any of that stuff was. You just were in a great restaurant, and I got to meet the owner Maggie, and her and I were very similar in age, and seeing her story where she was decided to do it, hit the ground running, doing pop ups, I said, I've got to do this. So when I came back, I said, I'm not going to wait until I retire. I'm not going to wait until I do a change of career. I'm going to do this now. And in
Mm-hmm.
2018, I said, I'm dedicating to get my nonprofit, my 501c3, and I'm going to make this happen. I don't know how, but I know God's got a plan for me. And so that's kind of where it led from.
And so, as that saying goes, you can't judge a book by its cover. When you went into this restaurant, it didn't look like it would be a pay what you can restaurant. It just looked a normal,
Mhm.
elegant restaurant. So, you said you did a discovery of food insecurity. How did you come across to find out about the food insecurity in this area?
Well, once I start researching, obviously I looked for would our area be benefited by a pay what you can restaurant, and then looking into two things. One, firsthand experience with public safety. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I've been in many different aspects of people's lives in the worst part of their life as a firefighter and EMT, and you see what goes on in this community where people are hungry. Kids coming up to you asking if you have snacks when you go into a home, when you're helping their parent. Parents just reaching out, people coming up to you on the streets because they feel comfortable to talk to you and to say, is there anything you can do for food because we don't have any. And so further research, I already knew firsthand we have a homeless population issue, we have a poverty issue, we also have a super wealthy issue here. Not issue, but we have a super wealthy community that is looking to connect and find a way to give back. And so when I did some research into the Census Bureau, I had the ability to find out that we are a 1 in 7 community. 1 in 7 faces food insecurity today by statistically our population, which means it's not just the homeless population,
Right.
it's people that are choosing to either pay their bill or have food for their family. People that are struggling and that live below the means on the average salary to be able to afford the basic necessities. And not only that, our school program, which I just found out recently, we are at the now we're not as bad in some communities with our schools, but we are at a 52% free and reduced population. And so that's one thing that's showing like there's a large problem if over half of our population are facing food insecurity in just the schools, how much more in the community. And so that's what really opened my eyes to discover the problems we face that a lot of people don't talk about.
Mm-hmm. Yes, because like you said, other than homeless people, you have everyday people that go to jobs, and like you said, what their priority is either keeping a roof over their head and paying their bills, the rent, the mortgage, and the utilities, and then finding food just the last means, or the opposite. And so you wouldn't know about it unless you are, close encounter with the
Mhm.
people every day and in different service jobs. What is the origin of eating together? Because it did start somewhere up north. What is the origin and the connection for it to come down here?
So again, the origin really came from can, me personally, always having the mindset I've always wanted to give back. I do everything I can. Those that have met me, I work very hard to help others, even before this started. And then the origin through my sister, knowing that there was an actual answer to this issue that she's working at, really started my passion to say that's what I want to do. Because then we found out there's a larger national organization called One World Everybody Eats. Now
Mm-hmm.
they actually created the entire guideline for a pay what you can model and have
Mm-hmm.
expanded it to over 50 different restaurants. They've helped establish 50 other restaurants throughout the entire USA.
Mm-hmm.
John Bon Jovi's got the most popular that people are aware of, the JBJ Love. He's got two of them. Then there's Farm Cafe, One Acre, several other great established businesses that have been around for a long time helping their communities.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing that there's none here in Georgia and knowing the food insecurity that we have here, it just it seemed like this was the answer. Like our community is a developing growing sense of pride in giving back and helping people, but they don't know what they can do yet. And so bringing this here is that answer of saying, this is what you can do. This can help with health issues, mental health issues, jobs, eating with dignity, making sure that everybody has the same access to great, wholesome food, support in different industries, agricultural, in every kind of industry you can think of centers around food. So we want
Mhm.
to be able to bring them together and really kind of shine even brighter in the Golden Isles.
Does Eaton together have a location?
So we are currently potentially yes. So I don't like to talk too much about it before I have it on paper. That's just
Okay.
one of those things I learned. But we do have a location that it's in the center of the Norwich. Potentially, the goal I would love to be on Newcastle Street. It's our growing downtown area. A lot of businesses, a lot of people from different walks go there to visit. But in our situation, we are potentially in talks of getting almost not so much, I mean, honestly, gifted a location. The people that are offering it, it's a great building. It's a good location. They're believe in our mission and they're willing to help us in any way possible to see that succeed. So, I would say in about 2 to 3 months, if this location goes through, we could potentially start feeding people every day.
Okay. And so since you don't have a location right now, how do you how do you feed the people? How do the people know where to come and get a meal?
Yeah. So, right now, again, since we've been around since 2018, not having the location and really just saying I'm going to figure out as I go and build up the community trust, figure out how this is going to work. We did door-to-door delivery services of non-perishable food items, and we typically centered around the holiday season, so Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, and then maybe one or two events throughout the year to kind of make sure that we're consistently feeding these families that we've connected with.
Mm-hmm.
But since then, we've fed over 1,000 families. We started our first year at 7, and it's grown ever since.
Mm.
Now, every event, I think at minimum, it's been about 200 families per event. Um, and so, what we do is we get a collective, we'll shop one day, we'll get all the goods that people can make a full meal that will last them at least a family of 4, at least 2 meals. And then we deliver directly to them. And a lot of times we also get call outs. So we've gotten partner agencies through the county and city government, different nonprofit organizations. We work in tandem when they can't fill the need. They'll reach out to us, and then we'll go directly to those call outs and help those families.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you have any partnerships right now who partner with your organization?
Oh, yeah. So we worked with Port City Partners, Christian Renewal Church, Riches Goods. They've helped us. Um, I'm trying to think. Ford, Brunswick, Better Glen County. There's a whole list, and it's growing every event. We have more and more people that we meet with, businesses, personal people that want to volunteer with us, and it just grows.
Okay. Okay.
Second Harvest is another one. Sparrow's Nest.
I would like to come to one event that you do. So send me notification the next time you have one, and I like to see the people and how's it going and just how
Yeah,
it operates.
absolutely. I'd love to.
How did you get involved with the Glenn County school system?
So this is a wonderful story. I just recently now I knew that the Glenn County school system has tried to find ways to go above and beyond to help kids that are on the free and reduced programs, especially through COVID. They would fill up their coolers during the lockdowns and send it to people directly on those lists. And we were looking to help them out. But recently, my wife, who works in the school system, informed me about this program that they have, the alternative lunch program. Now, the alternative lunch program, it's very, to say, demeaning in my eyes. I mean, it's embarrassing almost, because it's, you have kids that for whatever reason, they have a school lunch balance that goes into a negative. And once they hit a certain threshold, they have to then go to the end of the line in front of all their peers and they receive a yellow bag that is either a ham sandwich, a cheese sandwich, and maybe a piece of fruit.
Mm,
Um, and so what you have there is kids that are getting insufficient lunches, that are getting embarrassed in front of their peers, that are not getting a nutritious, balanced lunch that to get them through the day. And so that's a huge bother. And that's when I found out about this, we had to make a change about it.
and it's so, and you speak of that, and it seems like all through life, through social and community things, that there's always a separation, a demographic of people from children to adults. And I'm sure that some students know, you said the bag is yellow. I'm sure some students have asked that question, why is that bag the color and not everybody else's bag? And I'm
Mhm.
sure some students don't eat the lunch because they don't want anybody to know that they're getting that yellow bag. And
Correct.
so yes, so I appreciate you extending out to the schools, and I'm just heartfelt to hear that with the reduced and free lunch that there are still children that are not getting a lunch or still have a less nourishing meal to eat.
Mhm.
But thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for what you're doing.
Oh yeah, thank you very much. And this is something that so we found out that USDA during COVID, during 2020 and 2021, they did free lunch waivers for all school systems and didn't do the free, reduced, or paid. Now it was earlier this year, I think it was July this year, they quietly brought it back. So they didn't really truly inform a lot of people about the whole paid, free, or reduced. So you still have parents that the school system works hard to try to get the parents to either sign up for it because if they're on a reduced lunch, it's 40 cents. That's it. Now, a paid lunch is 250. Big difference, but you have the options to get the support. And if the parents don't know about it for whatever reason and it goes unchecked, this balance occurs. And the school does a good job of calling, emailing, and reaching out to the parents to let them know, hey, we don't want your kid to have this, but unfortunately, our hands are tied, and the policy is we have to do this.
Right.
So once we learned about that, another aspect of the mission is to go to the state to get our representatives to help support us in making a change, to go to the USDA and see if we can make Georgia and a no more or end alt lunch type of state, because there's a few other states that have outlawed and banned alternative lunch for students.
Mm. And is 40 cents a meal and 250 a meal, or is that
Yeah,
per
so
day?
yes, per meal. So there's 40 cents on the reduced lunch. Obviously, if you're in the free category, it's all free, and breakfast is still free for all schools, which is another thing. But
Okay.
for the reduced lunch, it's only 40 cents per student per day, and
Hmm.
then for a paid student with no help or assistance, it's 250.
Hmm. And in your bio, you mentioned funds needed. Can you tell us what funds are needed for you to progress in what you're doing for the
Yes, ma'am.
community?
So what we've done, as of this week, we have donated $3,500 to the school system. And now that what that has done has taken care of all of the schools, pre-K through 12th grade. We eliminated the debt for all elementary schools, and we took all the debt from the middle school and high schools that are in that threshold or beyond that threshold for the alternative lunch and brought them back to good standing. So when all the students return after this break, everyone's getting a normal lunch again. Everyone's starting right off square zero. They're going to be able to eat a normal, healthy lunch and not get the yellow bags.
Mm,
Now, the funds that were left over after paying off that sum, that has created an established account for all the school systems to be able to pull from. So if any of these students start going back down and get to that threshold, they'll pull from this account before they charge and push them further into the debt, making them have alternative lunch. So what
mm,
we're trying to establish, it's we're going to use this period once we come back, since everyone's at a blank slate, to kind of
mm-hmm,
get the metrics to see how much we need to do for a yearly reoccurring balance. Our goal right now is to reach $8,000 in total, so that way the school can have enough cushion for the entire year to pull from.
Right.
And as we go, and as we're working on the state to try to make a change, our plan is to cover for the next few years to make this a rolling account. So we're going to have to look for funding that helps supply us for the rest of this year, the 2023 and 24 years into the 2025 school years, and establish a way in which people can donate to this established account
Mm-hmm.
and ensure that none of those kids go down into that threshold area.
Okay. Okay. And how can people donate or volunteer? And I know if you can put, after you tell us, if you can put that information in the comment box and
Mhm.
it'll go with the live video on Facebook and
Okay.
YouTube. So how can people donate and volunteer for this to this organization?
So we have a PayPal, and we have Venmo. Both of those are at EATN together, and you can be able to donate straight to those accounts. If people want to either get with me directly or they want to mail it to us, we have an address at 139 Altama Connector, Box 350. They can send a check to that and just make it out to Eaton together. Those are our biggest donations. We also currently have a T-shirt fundraiser through Custom Ink, an In Alts Lunch T-shirt that I'm going to extend into January. But we have, like, if we can get people wearing the support shirt, all the proceeds from this T-shirt fundraiser goes towards this account as well. It's a good way of showing visual support and having a way to donate into that as well. I'll have a link to that as well in the chat or in the comments. And then for volunteering, we're going to have future events. We're going to do some fundraisers coming up in the near future. We're going to plan with different organizations. Toys for Tots is one of the fundraising organizations that's going to help us out. We're also going to be doing a raffle fundraiser, which I'm looking into now to try to get businesses to donate goods and services and see if we can't raffle off some good prizes. And then we'll have more community events as they come. I know we're going to be helping out at Easter with Seven Elite Sounds. They have an Easter event at Mary Ross Park. So we'll need volunteers for that as well. And then if they can follow us either on our website at eatontogether.com, our Facebook and Instagram, we post regularly. So any events that we have will come up on those.
Okay, sounds good. Now, on your downtime, when you're not out there serving the community, you say that you like to paint. What is your main objects or landscaping that you like to paint?
So I do all kinds of everything from abstract to very colorful, pop arty pets, and like you said, landscapes, and just whatever kind of piques my interest. And I work with
Mhm,
acrylics and oils, and just really try to have fun. It's a hobby that I picked up during COVID to
mhm.
kind of pass the time and help with public safety stuff, and it just kind of grew from there. And now it's something I love doing consistently. I make at least one or two paintings a week and try to help people out, memorialize their pets, and just do really fun, sassy, different images.
Okay. Okay, so if you would email me one of those paintings and your one of your favorite paintings and I'll post it on my Facebook page underneath your name and Eden
Okay.
together. So yes, because aren't you eventually going to sell those paintings, right?
Mhm. Yes, ma'am. No, I do. I do sell them currently. I actually had my first art show in November over on the island, and I did pretty good. It was a lot of fun.
Good, great. Now you said you do D and D. What
Yes,
is
ma'am.
D and D?
So that's Dungeons and Dragons. So it's a role playing game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have a good group of friends that we all meet. We've been playing for the past 2 years, almost 3 years now. And we just kind of get together and go through kind of what our imagination will take us through different scenarios and either try to battle or discover things or solve mysteries and just have a kind of a creative outlet in a social environment. And it's just a really good time.
So this is a live Dungeons and Dragons opposed to the video game.
Yes, ma'am. It's it. Yeah, in person. Interacting with people, a lot of improv and ad lib type of scenarios. So it's always fun. It's unique every
Mm,
time.
okay, Mr. Eaton, to close down a little bit our conversation, and thank you again for accepting my invitation to a conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I love the opportunity. I think it was great meeting you and having this opportunity to kind of get our message out there and, get more into the community that I haven't had access to before. Helps
Mhm,
not just me, but helps a lot of the families that we're trying to feed and gets
mhm,
the support that we need to establish our restaurant and hopefully
mhm.
get open here soon in the next few months.
Well, once you get your restaurant open, give me a call and I'll come in and do a live invitation to a conversation and talk to some of the customers that will come in and eat and some of the workers that y'all have there and see how it's going.
Absolutely. That'd be awesome. I'd love to have you there.
Mr. Eaton, who inspires you?
Uh, Man, it's hard. I don't know if I have a particular person. I think people's actions around in my world. My
Mm,
wife is a big inspiration for me. She has a huge heart and she works diligently to, you know, make a better future, not just for herself, but, our family and what we're working towards. My sister's a big inspiration. She's come through a lot of adversity and has been true to herself to, follow her passion with eating together and fighting through hard times to get to where she's at right now with working with me. um, I have people that I've worked with in my career. Jay Wiggins has been a big inspiration for me on how to work with people and treat people and be positive and stay true to what you believe in to obtain your goals and also just enjoy life. And so
hmm
I always look for connecting with new people every day, and really I just strive to not make mistakes that I've made in the past and try to help
hmm
make it better around where I live.
Yes, yes, sounds good. Yes. And to have the background that you have as an EMT and a police officer, they all come combined together into the current job that you do.
Yeah.
You don't have to call for help. You're right there.
Yes, ma'am. I seem to be getting in a couple of those situations that I end up solving myself. So,
Yes. What is your favorite scripture, phrase, or testimony that keeps you grounded?
um, uh, man, there's so many good ones out there. I listen to a lot of Jim Rome and Les Mills and several other motivational speakers, and then I saw this interview about a 95-year-old guy and the advice he would give his younger self, and what he says is nobody knows what they're doing, so just be nice. you
Mm,
know just do what you can to help people around you, and don't get so stressed out with not knowing things or things don't go right in the at one time. You can always get back up and try again, and you can discover every time you try a new experience. If one thing doesn't work out, another window will open up and you can continue to pursue that way. I think I've been very fortunate in my career. I've learned that sometimes you change paths and change directions, and it might be scary, but it ends up working out for you. As long as you keep doing one step in front of the other, you're going to make it. You're not going to fall in the same place twice.
going live is a great example of what you said because I used to do these pre-recorded, and I just went live this past summer. And so every time I come on, I'm still learning how to use all the functions and effects and everything. So every time I do one, I learn something new. But
Well,
I
that's good.
still still love it. What is your advice or wisdom to people? Um, how servitude affects a community. We have a lot of nonprofits, we have a lot of businesses and organizations and individuals that do things in the community to help other certain demographic of people or everybody. So, what is your advice or wisdom um, to share with people of how serving the community affects people?
I think it's infectious. I think helping others and experiencing the joy it brings for somebody who's in need and receives something without expectation, it's one of the greatest things you can do in my eyes. And I think a lot of us in Glenn County have very like-minded missions where we want to work beyond ourselves and just help people without the expectations of any kind of return. We just want to see people be better and do better for themselves. And if someone's in the position of providing that, to do that and then to show that support that it's okay to live that way, it's okay to help people and to support others without that expectation, it brings people together very quickly and very strongly. I think I've had a very good success on community events recently where I briefly met different agencies. We said let's work together and make it happen, and they brought everything they could to make it happen, and we were successful. We fed a lot of people. We helped a lot of people that were very surprised that we were out there just giving away things. But it changes the environment.
Mm-hmm.
Um, one of the things I kind of work on with different public speaking engagements and trying to find the right words to put into play. One of the little phrases that I like to use is, a picture's worth 1,000 words,
Mm-hmm.
so an experience can change your life.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I like to also tell people and share a story is we had a predominant figure that helped with us last year, very, very first time giving back to the community. And it was for our Thanksgiving event where we're delivering bags of food to these families that are in need, knocking on their doors, meeting them, and they've never really interacted with some of our community before. And not to their own fault, it's just they haven't taken that step out. And he had given this bag of food to this wonderful woman who was very appreciative and immediately invited them to come in, and that she was going to start cooking there on the spot and invited them to come eat. And it blew him away. Like the concept of, he's like, I just brought this woman food and she's wanting to cook and eat with me. He's like, this is amazing. And so that experience that he gained changed the way he viewed how our
Mm-hmm.
community functions and the good in people. It doesn't matter what walk you have, you offer some food, people are going to be your friend.
That's a beautiful story because what you gave her, she wanted to share, not
Hmm.
just for herself, but share back. You
Yep.
know, that's an awesome story. That's an awesome story. That's an awesome story. Well, thank you, Mr. Eden. I hope I didn't interrupt you too much out of your day.
Oh no,
One
you're fine.
one of the things is why it put on my heart to do these is that, like you said, a lot of people don't come into the community for various reasons. So I figure I'll bring the community into the households and let people know what people as yourself are doing in the community. So thank you, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and continue to eat in together.
Yes, ma'am. I thank you so much and happy holidays to you. Hope you have a great Christmas and great time with your family.
Yes, and I look forward to the information, the donations,
Mhm.
telephone number, and your next event. I'll be there at your next event.
Yes, ma'am. I'm looking forward to it.
Have a blessed day.
You too.
Bye bye.
Bye.